All right, hi there, folks. This is a little bit unusual for me. I've never done anything like this before, meaning I've never submitted a long video to YouTube, and I've certainly never opened up a pack of cards and gone through them on YouTube before, but I've been watching a lot of folks do that over the last several months, and I've gotten kind of into it and wanted to share this experience with you guys. It's probably going to be a little bit even, hopefully, more interesting considering these are 1990 Upper Deck baseball cards, and I was actually a Batboy for the Oakland A's in 1991. So many of the players in here I got to meet while I was a Batboy that summer, and it was kind of interesting when I was opening these packs back in the day. Little did I know that the next year I'd be meeting a lot of these players. So if I see some guys in here that I remember some stories about, I'll share some of those stories, and hopefully we get through this entire thing. Pulling these packs, I bought a case of these the other day from a friend who's had them for 36 years, and opened 3 boxes so far, and apparently the best cards to get are Ken Griffey Jr., Sammy Sosa, Larry Walker, rookie, John Olerud, and of course there's some future Hall of Famers in there as well. If I don't get the cards and I throw some cards away that you know are valuable, sorry, I just don't really know what I'm doing with this. But also, these are low series cards, so there aren't going to be the errors that I think are in the high series. And this is not one of these boxes where you're chasing Reggie Jackson autographs. So with that said, let's get started and start hunting for some of these cards. And hopefully I'll be able to tell you some pretty cool stories about some of these players, especially those that were on the Oakland A's at that time. If you remember, or if you don't know, in 1991, some of the big names that were on the A's was Ricky Henderson, Jose Canseco, Mark McGwire, Dennis Eckersley, Dave Stewart, Willie McGee, Harold Baines, just quite a few folks that you may have heard of before. Hopefully we find some of their cards so I can share those stories as well. So these packs are in foil, and my understanding is that means that they're tamper-proof. But I've still got about 17 more boxes of these to go through. So if people find this interesting, maybe we'll do another one. All right, so let's open up our first pack. Got a box here to throw away the wrappers. One of the other things about these packs is that the cards were in lots of different orders, so it was hard to predict which way the cards would be facing the next one that came up. So Fred Manrique, I don't know if we'll read through all of the names here. So far, nobody that I recognize or have any stories about. So again, we're looking for Ken Griffey Jr., Sammy Sosa, rookie, Larry Walker, John Olerud, those guys. Terry Steinbach, pretty much kept to himself. He was an all-star, I believe, in 1990 or one of those years, close to then. So this particular pack was not so hot. Open up another one. Well, there's a Bo Jackson card. That's a great card. We'll keep that one. Never got to meet him, unfortunately. Rob Deere is maybe a Hall of Famer. I can't remember, but we're not going to keep him. Apologize if that upsets a few people. Now, Ricky Jordan never really amounted to that much, but he was such a popular card in the late 80s. Everybody wanted the Ricky Jordan card. It was chasing a rookie that was destined to be somebody big and never worked out that way. All right. If there are any players that were on these at that time that you want to hear stories about, leave a comment and I'll try to let you know about them. Bobby Bonilla, great guy, great player. Barry Larkin. There's Dave Stewart. So Dave Stewart once asked me to go get his Sandy socks for him, and I didn't know what that meant. So I was running around the clubhouse for 15 minutes looking for something that I'd never heard of before. And after 15 minutes, he said, "Hey, where are those Sandy socks?" And I had to tell him I didn't know what they were, and apparently those are sanitary socks. So great memory of Dave Stewart. And some others that I won't share. We'll try to keep all the stories PG. I have lots of Ricky Henderson stories. That guy was quite the character, so hopefully we find one of his cards so we can get into his stories. Not hitting the Ken Griffey yet. Not too many stories yet. Frank Fowler, great pitcher. Another Ricky Jordan. Boy, would have killed for that in 1990. Now, Mike Witt, apparently, in these 1990 Upper Deck cards, there are some errors involving him in the higher numbers, but I don't have the higher numbers, which are above 700. So Dave Henderson was a really, really nice guy, and he actually taught me how to grip a baseball across the seams. I didn't know there was a special way of doing it, but he showed me how to do it, and he said, "You practice this enough, whenever you pick up a baseball, you'll naturally know how to grip it." And turns out after enough practice, I did finally learn how to do that just by picking up the ball without even looking at it. And if you watch baseball players today, you'll always notice that they move the ball around in their hand when they're about to throw it. That's because they're feeling for the seams to get a better grip on the ball. That wasn't something that I knew about when I was 16 and a Batboy, but he was a nice enough guy to teach it to me, and he was a really, really nice guy, actually. Boy, no big hits yet on this box. This has been a little bit of a letdown, but a long way to go. Long, long way to go. Let's see. books that are memorable. Again, this is my first time doing anything like this, so if I'm not holding the cards correctly, I apologize. Neil. Deion Sanders. So the two best cards I've gotten out of this box so far have been players that played for multi-sports, baseball and football. And in a lot of ways, those are kind of the coolest cards to get, in my opinion, especially from cards that were in what's called the junk wax era, that were really overly produced. Mike Gallego. So, let's see. Opening night, we were all standing at the top of the dugout, and they were shooting off fireworks. And Mike Gallego says to me, "Hey kids, stand on the step below me." That's because I was probably 5'10" at the time, and he was 5'6", so he was having the Batboy stand at a lower step than he did. That was pretty funny, but really nice guy. Really not finding any big names. There's another Bo Jackson. Pretty cool. We'll keep him. Whoa. So sometimes you hit winners and sometimes you don't. So far we're batting well below the Mendoza line here on big hits, but maybe they're still waiting to come. It's just hard to go through these because they're upside down and backwards and all that stuff. Stickers I don't really pay much attention to. There's our second Paul O'Neill. There's a Kirby Puckett. Kirby Puckett came into town one day. Really nice guy. And one of the fans was sort of razzing him a little bit. And he was playing back and being real fun and jovial, and just seemed like a good person. Wish I'd gotten a chance to speak to him, because he just seemed like a really nice guy. So if we get to a pack that doesn't have anybody good in it, I'll tell you a Bob Uecker story that I told people before that I think is a real fun one. Who's this? Felix Jose. I don't remember him on the team in 1991, but maybe he was. Edgar Martinez. We'll keep that one. This might be the bad pack we were talking about for a Bob Uecker story. There we go. So one afternoon was batting practice, and we were taking shag and fly balls. And I didn't know who Bob Uecker was. I was a teenager and never heard of the guy or seen him before. And he was out there shagging, or maybe he was pitching, throwing balls. I can't remember. But we were running in as batting practice was ending. And I don't remember exactly what he said to me, but he said a joke that was so funny I had to stop and look at him, because I thought, who's this old man telling this funny joke? Well, on the way back, by the time we got to the dugout, he'd said another 3 jokes that were absolutely hilarious. And I never forgot him after that, just because, A, I never thought somebody who was elderly, probably as old as I am now, but I never thought somebody who was old, quote unquote, could be funny. And he was hilarious. So, really good memories of Bob Uecker, if only for a brief moment. Geez, this is such a bad pack. I should have another story, Bob Uecker. Too bad I don't. Carlton Fisk. All right, we're going to keep him, even though that card is probably towards the end of his career. Marquise Grissom. All right, we'll keep that rookie. I haven't seen that one before. Tim Raines. Oof. Sorry, Tim. Well, we are not getting anybody good in this pack either, really. We're really looking for the King Griffies. In the first box I opened, I actually did it with my wife, who has never opened a pack of baseball cards in her life. And in the, let's call it the 10 packs that she opened, she found 2 King Griffies. So, in the next 2 boxes, and so far in this one that I opened, I didn't find any. So I guess it's beginner's luck. Although I had her open another box with me just because she had been so lucky, and she didn't find any in that one either. So maybe she's no longer a beginner. Craig Biggio. I think this is one of his early cards. Yeah, we'll keep that one. Wild Thing, Mitch Williams. Is this the Pedro Guerrero? I can't remember. Keep that one just in case. Wow. Well, I don't even think we're a quarter way through yet, so we're doing all right. Another Mike Witt, not the one we're looking for. I collected baseball cards in the late 80s, early 90s, like I think everybody did. And spent many an afternoon at the card shop. Now, at the time, the big cards that we were opening was in 1988. And the big card to get then was Greg Jeffries. And I must have opened hundreds and hundreds on Gonzalez. That's a great card. Hundreds and hundreds of Donruss, 88 Donruss, looking for Greg Jeffries. Never found one. And so to this day, I think the card shop owner must have been resealing packs, because there's just no way you go through that many packs and not find one. But you never know. So we haven't found one of his cards yet, but a Jose Canseco story. I guess everybody has a card that they opened that kind of defined their card chasing history. And for me, I think the packs of 88 Donruss were 50 cents each or 25 cents each. And one day I decided to really splurge and buy one pack of 1986 Donruss. There we go. There's a Bo Jackson. That's a pretty valuable card. I decided to splurge and spend the $6 on a pack of 86 Donruss, which at the time $6 was millionaire money. And I bought one pack, and it was like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I'm opening it, and the card shop owners are looking over my shoulder, and I didn't even see the card yet. And he goes, "Congratulations, kid." And I looked up at him, and I looked back down at the pack, and as I pulled a couple cards away, there was the Jose Canseco rated rookie of 1986, which at the time was worth $100, or according to Beckett, it was worth $100, which was more money than I'd ever seen before, probably. And I ran around screaming in the card shop about my baseball card and stuck the rest of the pack into my pocket, not caring about it. Well, it turns out one of the other cards in the pack was a Fred McGriff rookie, which today is worth much more than the Jose Canseco rookie, and it got completely bent in my pocket because I just didn't care. I was so excited about it. And that was too bad. There's another Mike Gallego. So every once in a while I'll buy a box of 86 Donruss just to go Canseco hunting. And had some pretty good luck with that. I'm not sure. No, we are not finding any of the big cards we're looking for yet. Probably just hiding down at the bottom. Getting a little faster at this. Jim Corsi, I got his autograph on a piece of paper because I didn't have his baseball card at the time. I still have that autograph. Thought he was going to be a big deal. He was hyped to be a big deal. Turned out not to be. Sorry, Jim, if you're watching this. I'm not going to keep that. Keeping the Mike Schmidt ones. Yikes. Boy, I really want to tell you guys some Ricky stories or Jose Canseco stories or McGuire stories. We just haven't hit any of those cards yet. This box better have some in there. I have to say, in the other boxes that I opened, the number of good cards I got were much higher than this one, so I apologize, folks, for the low value of these cards so far. These are a lot of commons. Of course, it'll all be worth it if we get one Ken Griffey Jr. If you're frustrated with how I'm showing these cards or how I'm doing this, I apologize. It's, again, my first time. But if this is popular, I'll do another 16 boxes and upload it, and I should be better by the 16th box. Oh, almost threw that one away. That would have been sacrilege. Darling. I ran into Nolan Ryan one time walking out of a bathroom. Can't remember what airport I was in. And I wanted to shake his hand, but I realized I was coming out of the bathroom, so decided not to do that. All right, still looking for a Ken Griffey. And still no luck. I think he's probably happy I didn't shake his hand either. Oh, there's another Deion Sanders, and there's a Sammy Sosa. Those are two great cards. There were 2 Ron Darlings in that one pack. All right. Is this a Fred McGriff? There he is. Keep those cards now. Try not to bend them. Tom Glavine card. That's pretty good. Early card of his. Mookie Wilson. All right, I'd say we're about halfway done. And the pile of commons versus the pile of valuable cards, or cards worth anything, is pretty minuscule. Certainly compared to the first few boxes I've opened. But you never know. It'll all be worth it. Harold Reynolds. Again, if I'm getting rid of a card that you think is valuable, please let me know so I don't do it again. Vance Law. Now, he was on the team the year that I was there. My only memory of him was him sitting at his cubby, his locker, and reading a book. And I hadn't seen any other players do that before. And I just always found that to be interesting, that a baseball player was reading a book. Don't know why I found it interesting. Greg Maddux, fielding and not pitching. We'll keep him. There's a Nolan Ryan again. I think in the other boxes that I opened, I didn't get any Nolan Ryans. There is a Nolan Ryan with a 5,000 strikeout logo, but as far as his actual card, I don't think I got any of those. Getting a little nervous here, guys. I'll be honest with you. We just need one. And maybe we used them all up in that first box, so they had two of them. Yeah, there have been no Jose Cansecos, no McGuires. I don't keep that Wade Boggs. He was big deal. You know, but I haven't seen one Willie McGee, one Harold Baines. These are just players that were on the team I'm thinking of. No Harold Baines, no Willie McGee, no Walt Weiss, no Carney Lansfords. Pretty interesting. All right. Okay, and Boyd, I always thought that was an interesting name. David Cohn. No Olarudes, no Larry Walkers. All the people we're hunting for, we haven't run into yet, have we? Yeah, no Barry Bonds. I mean, that card is not really a Barry Bonds that I would keep. All right, maybe this is the pack. What is this? All right, Kevin Moss. So, interesting story about him. He was supposed to be the next big thing. And when the Yankees came into town, I had a Kevin Moss baseball card, and I went up to a guy and asked him to sign the card. But since the Yankees don't have their names on the back, he looked at the card and he goes, "That's not me." So I've always felt kind of bad about that I asked a guy for his autograph and it wasn't even the right guy. But you know what? When you don't have your names on the back of the card, there's a Tom Glavine. You know, those sort of things happen, I guess. That's my favorite Kevin Moss story. Dave Winfield was sitting in the dugout, and I went up and asked him for his autograph. He was a big deal. And I don't think he could have been any more annoyed. But fair enough, he was in the dugout, so I was bothering him, but he was not in the mood. But he did sign it. Rick Honeycutt, I never had any interactions with him. People often ask me who were the nicest players on the team at the time. And I always tell them it was Jamie Quirk, if you remember him. Haven't found his card yet. And Mike Moore, the pitcher. So Jamie Quirk, the catcher. Mike Moore, the pitcher. Those two guys were by far the nicest guys to me. And just always rooted for them. Yeah, I haven't found any Bob Welch's yet or Storm Davises. Those guys were also on the team. Kurt Young. I don't know if we found any Kurt Youngs. Since we're getting down to the end here, I feel like I should just start naming people because I figured I would have seen them by now. This looks like, oh, there's a Jose Canseco. So, what stories do I tell about him? There's some rated R stories and other kind of things, but Story I like to tell about him is one day he was hitting balls in batting practice and the stadium was empty. He was just out there hitting balls. And he was launching balls into the third deck at the Oakland Coliseum, which, if you know anything about that Coliseum, the third deck was extremely far away. It's already a big stadium. It was a great pitcher's park, but third deck was exceptionally far, and he was just launching them into the third deck. And I went up to him as a 16-year-old who didn't know anything, and I said, "Mr. Canseco, I've never seen balls hit that far before." And he just shrugged like it was nothing. So, what does a 16-year-old know about how far balls get hit? But it was amazing to watch him swing the bat. If we get another Jose Canseco, I'll get into the PG-13 stories. Walt Weiss. So he was on the injured reserve when I got there. I think he broke a leg or something like that, or it was very early in the season he got hurt. And he said, I had a mitt probably from Walmart. And he said, "What is that made of? Is it synthetic?" And I said, "Yeah." And I think he was just shocked that somebody would actually use a mitt like that. All their mitts, of course, were the highest quality leather. And there I was with a synthetic mitt from Walmart. Synthetic mesh. All right. Getting down to the felt, as they say in cards. Anytime I see a Mariners card, I get wound up for a split second. There's 3 Mariners in this pack. Maybe that bodes for something good. Another Greg Maddux. Getting some Greg Madduxes and Tom Clavins. It's pretty good. No elusive Ken Griffey. Dave Stewart again. Dave Stewart was from Oakland, or is from Oakland originally, as am I. So I always had an affinity for him because he was a hometown kid. Oh, there's Gene Nelson. A foul ball went off of his wrist, I think, and broke it, and he was out for most of the year. That was pretty sad. That happened pretty early. When you're a ball boy, bat boy, you give the balls to the umpire after every few pitches, and you're pretty close to the action. Those balls come screaming off super fast. That's the 3rd Greg Maddux we've gotten, and I'm not complaining. Guys would rub the pine tar on their bats. I was in Oakland. You'd have to protect the pitchers on the mounds out in the outfield. One time I was protecting one of the pitchers. I think it was Kirk Dressendorfer, and a foul ball came screaming my way. And one of the coaches said, "You better get that." But at the angle it was coming, it curved, and it short hopped me, and I missed it. And the pitcher, if it was Kirk Dressendorfer, turned around and caught it in his chest. So he didn't get hurt, but everybody was giving me crap for missing the ball, which was really fast, at least to me. So I didn't really do my job too well protecting the pitcher on that particular play. Cal Ripken Jr. So at the time, he was the biggest name. I don't know if it was him or Jose Canseco or Mark McGuire, but he was up there. And when the Orioles came into town, I basically chased him down in the hallway to get his autograph. And he was nice enough and did it. And I have his autograph on the cover of a Beckett magazine, or Beckett card catalog. That was what we used to check out the prices and the values of cards, which came out once a month. Now you just look on ChatGPT and find out in 2 seconds. Boy, I kind of want to find another Jose Canseco card to get into some of the stories. That guy was quite the character. But who knows, he might sue, so maybe it's better if we don't. Well, we got 5 more packs left. I don't know, guys. It's looking a little bleak here. But you never know. And that's the excitement of baseball card hunting. Now, if we get another Greg Maddux, I'll be shocked. A lot of Israel Sanchez's. When I watch these videos of other guys going through the cards, usually I see the good card before the person going through the packs does. So you may do that too. Since I'm having to put this up to the camera. No stories about Kurt Young, although he was on the team then and became a coach for the team later for many years. This is sacrilegious, but sorry, Jim. Okay. Maybe I should do something where people buy packs and I open them and then I designate a pack to the person who paid for that pack. That might be fun. Don't really know how to do that, but maybe by box 16 I will. Okay, Ricky Henderson. So the year that I was the Batboy, he broke the stolen base record, and he was enormously famous, especially because he was approaching the stolen base record. And I have many, many, many stories about this particular guy. But just a couple are that I used to wear his shoes for him to break them in because we had the same size feet. So I'd wear his shoes, and I believe his shoes are now in the Hall of Fame. So my DNA is probably in the Hall of Fame. But also the day he broke the record and the base that he stole, they gave me the base to hold while he gave his speech. And if you recall or don't, and you look it up on YouTube, that's a speech where he tells everybody how great he is. But while he was doing that, I was holding the base. So that was pretty neat. But he used to also wear sunglasses by, I don't want to say Ray-Ban if it wasn't, because I'm forgetting the name of the company that he had the glasses for, but they were paying him a bunch of money. And the rep told me, look, make sure he has his glasses when he steals the base, and I'll make sure that you get they were Oakleys. He said, I'll make sure you get a pair of Oakleys. So the day he was getting ready to steal the base, he was signaling me, where's my glasses? Where are my glasses? So I ran him out to him. He stole the base, and I got some Oakley glasses. So If we find some more Ricky Hendersons, I'll tell some more stories. This guy is the most stories about Ricky Henderson. Brings a smile just to think about him. Sorry that he passed too soon. All right, we got. I kept a Pedro Guerrero, but I was thinking of Vladimir Guerrero. Willie McGee. So he got traded. He'd been traded to the A's, I believe, in 1990. So he was on the team. They had quite the stacked team in 1991. It was pretty ridiculous. Some of the players they had. Like I said, Harold Baines was on there too. The A's had acquired Harold Baines and Willie McGee. If not in the same week, it was within a couple of weeks of each other. It was in 1990. It was pretty amazing. Oh, and you may be wondering how I got the job as a bat boy for the A's. I had snuck into a preseason game before the season started with a friend of mine. We had just gone over to the Warriors Stadium and shot some baskets on the floor for Golden State. When I say baskets, it was one basket, and then they kicked us out. And then we thought, oh, let's see if we can go over and run around on the A's field. But they were playing St. Mary's College that day, and we were excited to get in because there were only 200 people there. Another Deion Sanders, awesome. And so we thought, oh, maybe we'll get a foul ball. There's only 200 people here in the stands. And so he went to the bathroom, and I was down at the railing. And none of the major players were there. It was all kind of the D-level players. And the equipment manager came up to me and said, hey, do you want to be a bat boy for the game? And I said, get out of here. And he said, all right, if you don't want to do it. And I said, are you serious? And he said, yep. So I got the job as a bat boy for 1991. And when my friend came back from the bathroom, he said, what are you doing on the field? And I had to share that story with him later. So Mike Moore, like I said, great guy. He gave me a pair of shoes. Just a really, really nice player. Maybe my favorite player on the A's. Glad we found one of his cards. Hope you're doing well. Tony Gwynn, that's a keeper. All right, down to our last pack. Let's see how this goes. Thanks for bearing with me, you guys, on this box opening. I'm excited to see how it turns out, and hopefully you guys like the stories, and there are many, many more. So if this is something you guys enjoy, oh my God. 2 Jose Cansecos back to back. That means I have to tell one of these stories now, doesn't it? So, let's see. He used to have me go get phone numbers from young ladies in the stands. And one time there was a woman who was absolutely stunning. And I went into the stands and I said, excuse me, Mr. Canseco would like your phone number. And she had an envelope with all of her information in it. I guess she must have known she'd get asked and gave it to me, and I gave it to him. I guess that's how it worked back in the day. She just expected to get called out, so she had something for him. It's pretty cool. Well, when you're 16, it was pretty cool. All right, I can't believe we got those, so I had to tell at least one story. Todd Burns. Don't have any stories about him. But that was pretty cool to get 2 Jose Cansecos back to back like that. All right, down to the very end here. All right, guys. Well, no Ken Griffey Jr., but a lot of fun cards, a lot of great stories. Hopefully, you enjoyed them. And if this is something that you like and you want to hear more stories, I've got plenty more. Just let me know, and I'll open up another one of the boxes. I got 16 more of them to go. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys have a great day.